Hey guys, this is Matt for Creative. Sorry about my hair, just came back from a run. But earlier today, Apple released the Vision Pro, which is pretty interesting. I'm very curious. I've been watching YouTube videos for people who are at the event. They're showcasing the device. They can't put it on, they can't really do much of anything like that. But this is something extremely interesting. Just from the get-go, it's $3,500. We're going to pretend this is kind of like a unit. I'm going to refer to it. So imagine as this is how you would put it on. You have your little side panels, or actually not really side panels. You have kind of just cloth going around you to kind of secure it fully here. One of the most interesting things that I found is on the left side of the device. There's a connector and there's a cable running down. And originally, as they were going through this, I was thinking, this is exactly why they were making the iPhone so powerful, because it's going to be corded. It's going to be hooked up. You're going to have your iPhone in your pocket, and it is just going to be the computer that runs this entire machine. And as we continued going on, I was wrong about that. But still, it's surprising to have that cord. But all that is to the battery itself. Every single wearable product that I've had, this is a heavy guy right here, the battery is internal here. This is made for walking around, going outside, but I think as one of the first AR, VR headsets from Apple, I believe they're trying to do their best to contain it, because they could add the weight, and they said because of the weight, they don't want it on your head. That's why that little battery pack is here. But for every other product that's outside, this is an indoor-outdoor product. These are tiny little indoor-outdoor products, and the battery is inside here. Same thing with your iPhone. But having something that has a battery pack there, I really think they want to limit you to keep this as not an inside-only product, but something that you should kind of think about first, because you're going to have a cord running down here. And we used to do the same things with headphones and little earbuds and those AirPods with the cables that run down here. Mostly right now we are wireless. And when I saw that big thick cord, I was like, okay, this is a first generation product. And weirdly enough, if you're a Star Wars fan, you can probably think of like the first lightsabers that came out in canon, like many years ago. They had cords that ran to battery packs, just because the power was not here as newer lightsabers are. It's literally in the hilt, but it was corded. And I think when I first saw it, okay, that's a little bit odd, but that's acceptable. It's going to be on your side. It's going to feed down here. You're mostly going to be at home. You may go out. And these first adopters are going to make this socially acceptable to wear it on trains and airplanes, maybe at the park, and kind of run things as it is. The one thing I'm really curious about is, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be like this, is if this is going to have a cellular version. I would say for the version 1, it's not going to have a cellular version. I'd say right now, if you want to kind of run things when you're not on Wi-Fi, you're going to have to use your phone as a hotspot. You can maybe technically use an iPad as a hotspot, but just in simple terms, you're going to use your phone as a hotspot to power these things and to navigate. Because right now, what it is it's a really pretty TV that's around you all the time. And this is really funny, because I'm trying to go on how I was watching this. I was like, this is going to be $1,000 product. As soon as they showed it on the screen, I was like, this is going to be an $1,000 product. And then they started adding the things that would be value. The very first thing that I believe I remember hearing is that the front outer optical portion, the screen, is glass. And I was like, that's $500 more. So I went from $1,000 to $1,500. And then I heard them say the processor is is inside the device. And immediately I was like, all right, so that cable that I was thinking of is not to be used as a processor cable. I didn't know what it was at the time, but okay, let's add another $500. We're at $2,000 now. And then they showed that the processor is an M2 chip. And I was like, all right, that's another $1,000. This has gone from being something that you would maybe, because I honestly think it could be a good idea. And with things like continuity, I believe that's how it's called, and just kind of streaming in general, how like PlayStation has their new little like fake PSP, PS Vita, that you can cast from your really powerful PS5 to your little handheld device. I was thinking that that's what this was going to be. It was going to be corded for the first version with your phone hooked up to your, what do you call it? Your iPhone through Lightning, maybe through USB-C. But no. And then I was thinking, okay, maybe a Gen 2 is going to have it be a wireless connection. That'll be, oh, we're cutting the cord, we're doing this. But no, of course, that turned out to be a battery. I think that's just such... When you're with Apple, you understand that there are limitations that are made to stop you from wanting to do different things with these items. As I'm currently here, I'm kind of blanking on what the limitations are with these. Of course, it's going to be battery life, but they really want to control on how you use certain things. Of course, with the iPhone, it's going to be the App Store and controlling the way that you can download apps, but that may be opening up. That's kind of separate. But I just think it's so interesting that they are going to have to really learn how to limit this device, because, you know, here's one strange thing. I don't really have a newer MacBook. I didn't have a MacBook for about, let's say, 10 years or so. I had iPhones and iPads, and I really found that to be the most functional. But when I'm doing spreadsheets and when I'm trying to do certain things, and some things are really forcing me to, like as a YouTuber, YouTube Studio cannot really be reliably accessed on an iPad. It really tries to kick you out to the app, and the app doesn't show everything, so they're forcing you to use a MacBook. And here I have the 2000, what, is it 15 or 12 MacBook? The MacBook with only one little port, but I love how small it is. But really, I don't use it for much. I use my TV to watch things, I use my phone to communicate, I use my iPad to maybe edit and view things kind of on the go. I think this series of little screens is going to be taken up, and it's going to change into this one device. As of now, if you're in your home, I believe you can have this powered and connected, but having a 2-hour battery life is going to be extremely limiting with how you can use this, because let's say you're sitting where I am. This is where I film. This is where I eat dinner. This is where I have my iPad or MacBook set up and I'm working. I'm in the center of my room. The closest electrical port that I have is going to be in the kitchen, all the way over here. It's going to be by the TV, all the way over here. And it really, I don't want a cable that goes 10 or 15 feet over there or in that direction. You're going to be forced to use this in increments, and wow, I just thought that's how they're going to limit people's use, because on other VR devices, because there are them out there, like that MetaQuest 2, it does kind of remind you to let your eyes like just breathe and relax for a little bit, not using this too much. But with a 2-hour battery life and starting to get people used to this thing, they're going to be able to maybe they will have a screen time reminder like, oh, relax, you've been doing this for too long, but you have almost a hard cap of 2 hours. Now, unless you can buy more batteries, which if you can, I mostly will buy another battery so I can hot swap them and interchange them and have an extra something in my bag so I can continue using this for more. Because what if I'm on a flight that is 4 hours. I can only use this half the time now. We're going to continue on, and we're going to kind of learn and be guinea pigs in this, in how is this going to really affect our eyes. But over generations and over time, people are going to figure out what works for our eyes, what doesn't. Now with me, my eyes are something that I really covet. I have even better than 20/20 vision. I photo edit, I video edit, I can see things extremely clearly. I'm in my 30s, and this is just something that I have been blessed with, and I'm even trying to do certain things to kind of cut the strain on my eyes. I have a pair of blue light lenses. They may not look much, but you can really see that they have kind of like this yellow tint. So the little things that I can do to protect my eyesight for going down the line after 30, this is where your body begins breaking down. So we'll see. If I was early, maybe in my teens and in my 20s, using this for the first time, maybe my eyes would be able to get used to it. But now using a brand new device, because I really haven't used the other VR and AR units like Google Glass or MetaQuest. I've touched my friends' units like that just for a little bit, and I've used them for a short time, but I really haven't gotten into it because I thought that the quality wasn't really there yet, and I really thought that there wasn't much really to do. But with this, the Vision Pro, it's functional. It is basically having an iPhone, an iPad, a Mac, really every one of those things right in front of you, so you can be functional, because it seems that most of the functional apps are going to be right in front of you. I want, like, all I need and all I really do as a professional YouTuber is I record my video, I edit my video, and I upload it to YouTube. So the functionality is we have to have iMovie. Film, Final Cut Pro, that can come out at a later time. I personally don't use it. You know me, if you watch this channel for like 10 years, I don't really do edits much. I put a title card, an end card, title, that's it, and I just kind of move on. But for a lot of people, you're gonna need a little bit more. But for me, I need to be able to edit. I need to be, record. I can import, okay. Here's one thing that they didn't include is how much storage this will have. They talked about iCloud storage and like continuity, picking up, putting down, continuing, doing something else. But this needs to be a large capacity unit. I remember, is it the MetaQuest, does it have 32 or 64 gigabytes or 128? What I've really noticed, and I've made 2 separate videos on this, is Apple has become terrible at accounting for the gigabytes within their products. I usually record with a 256 gigabyte card. I record for maybe about 5 to 10 minutes, and that's it, and I transfer things in. I have an iPhone that has 512 gigabytes. I have another one that has 1 terabyte, and there are times when looking at the iPhone storage, it is literally at the halfway mark, which means I either have 250-ish or 512 gigabytes. That in reality, that's not usable, because Apple keeps on saying, hey, your 5 gigabytes that you're importing or 10 gigabytes is too much than what we can take right now, when that is an absolute lie. So this VR headset, the Vision Pro, it needs to be at least 512 gigabytes at a starting point, if not a terabyte to 2 terabytes, because if this is going to be really a MacBook replacement or an iPad replacement, it has to have that high storage capacity, because you're going to get a lot of filmmakers, photographers editing on this, because wow, you're going to have the picture right in front of you in a 4K screen. But I'm going to have a lot of things being imported. I do daily videos. That means I'm going to record a lot of things maybe in one day, shoot it in there, and it needs to have the space to operate. So we're going to see exactly what this is. That's something that they did not mention, unless I completely missed that. But for $3,500, it's up there. It's something I'm going to have to save my money on, but this is one of those devices where if you want to continue being functional, you're going to have to get into this as they do with like AI, with ChatGPT, something you are required to get into if you want to progress in the semi-tech space where I am here, and even in business, small business, big business. As a business consultant, sometimes you have to learn these things. You have to be functional with them because, you know, now on, people are going to be viewing things in VR and AR. For the longest time, I've recorded with a wide-angle lens, but a traditional mirrorless camera. And I believe I've tried some 360 cameras. They're not up to spec for me because they are kind of like action cameras. That means that they only, like, there is no depth, there is no bokeh, there is no tone. You can see like the background blur. I like to have that kind of crisp nature. When you now have VR and AR goggles where you can kind of really dedicate your time and see things, and I'm saying this because when Apple does it, people begin to adopt it, either pros or like the cheap and low end. Everyone's going to begin adopting it. This is really like the mainstream release of VR and AR as a headset. People are not going to really want to watch something like this. The things that we have available to us right now are videos that kind of are just like this most of the time. Like, you can really go into VR on YouTube, and they're going to have to, hopefully it won't take much, but they're going to have to use the YouTube app and kind of just make it work with those goggles, and just, it's just going to kind of change the way that I feel. Oh, my pizza's done. It's going to have to kind of change the way that I record my content, but it's going to be a reduction in quality. I guarantee you it's going to be a reduction in quality just to kind of fit the format. It's going to take some time, but eventually we're going to be able to have a 360 cam that's going to give us some background blur as we get here. I'm going to have less control, and wow, that means, hey, I usually have this set up here. You know what, maybe I'm just going to get a super wide action cam because maybe 360 is not what I want. When I'm watching VR, I want to be here in 180-degree space, immersed. Outside of that, I don't want people to see what's on the other side because, hey, I have my studio lights. I'm not going to have studio lights all around me. That's just not functional for what I do. But for some people, it will be. I'm going to have to learn with that too, but yeah, that means I'm going to have to kind of change up the way that I do my content. If this is going to be 3D content, I am now going to have to upgrade my camera unit because I use the Canon EFM mirrorless setup. I've seen no reason to improve on this whatsoever, where now I think I would have to improve to the RF system by Canon because they make a 3D dual lens system. That's going to be what I need, a 180-degree 3D, because even with my action cam, I can have a super wide angle thing, but it's not going to be 3D. The one thing that I think I forgot to mention is that you're going to be able to do recordings with, I believe, some 3D spatial data from the unit itself, and that's going to be pretty interesting to kind of record and just, yeah. There's a lot more I want to say, but I want to stop this right here. We're going to talk about this more later on this week because this is really interesting. But guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about anything, I'm learning here with you. I'm really curious to see what Apple is going to be doing with these kind of devices. Imagine, this is basically what we're going to be like soon. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, put everything in the comment section below. I'm on Instagram at m8b9. You can email me at matt8b9@gmail.com. Thank you, and I will see you next time.